In this vlog, I want to talk about Google's analytics and the moves that are going on at the moment. So at the moment, there is two systems which Google uses to collect data, and one is a new one called GA4, which they want everybody to move to, and one is an old one called Universal Analytics, which they want everyone to stop using. So I'm going to talk a bit about what this means for you, how it works overall, and what you might need to do. So, there's two systems, like we said. System number one is called Universal Analytics. That's the system that's been used for a long time by Google to collect websites and data and gives you your website data. So Universal Analytics has been traditionally the place you go to see the number of website visitors you've got, to see how long they stay on your page, to see what pages they went to next, all that lovely data about your website. That's been collected traditionally by this system called Universal Analytics, provided free by Google. Google is closing that down. We're going to go into the details of that in a minute. Okay, and then there's this next system which they want you to move on to, which is called GA4. Don't ask me why they come with number 4 in the old. Anyway, GA4, Google Analytics 4. This is a new system. It is a different system, but effectively, to us as the users, it kind of does the same thing. It collects your website data and tells you about it. But there's a lot different goes on in the background. It works in a very different way. So Google have brought out this new version. So it is called GA4, but in the same way, it collects data from your website, processes it, and gives it to you. So I've got two little things that help us with this. So we're going to imagine that the old version, Universal Analytics, is like a teapot. You know, you put the data in, and then you can get the data out. And then they've got the new version, GA4, which kind of, coffee pot, does the same thing. You put hot water and stuff in and get the data out, but it does it in a little bit of a different way. So we've got the old version, what's happening with that, and we've got the new version, and we need to make sure we move gradually from the old one to the new one, or maybe you're on the new one and you don't know. So we're going to go through that. So let me talk about the old one first and what's happening now and when's it turning off and so on. So at the beginning of July, they're going to stop collecting data with the old version, with Universal Analytics. So at the moment, Universal Analytics works, data goes in, and you can get the data out. Nice and simple. And that will keep going until July the 1st. After July the 1st, all the data will still stay here in the pot. You won't lose it, it will stay, but no new data will go in the top. Okay? So as of the 1st of July, no new data is going here. If you only have this old version, GA4, you will no longer get any website data. But you can look at your historic data. You can pull it out and have a look, okay? And this will stay there for another year. So this historic data will stay there until, or Google have told us at the moment, until July 24. At July 24, they will take a hammer to this. This will go and you will lose this data. Now, there are ways we can save it, we'll go on to that later. But they'll keep it for you, but it will stay as historic data, okay? So look at the new one. Ooh, the Universal Analytics. So the new one, the Universal Analytics, is running now. It's been running for a while. It is collecting data. So just like Universal Analytics, GA4, data goes in the top and you can pour it out and look at it anytime you like. It is running now and it will keep running, and this will be what is used in the future. So you need to get yourselves onto this because this version will stop. Okay, at the moment you can use both together. So you can have both running. The data from your websites can pour into this one and this one simultaneously, and you can choose which one you look at depending on which interface you prefer, this one or this one. Now lots of us prefer this one because we know it, but we're going to have to get used to this one, so it's time to bite the bullet and have a look. Okay, but the key is at the moment data will pour into both. Happy days. But from July, that goes, data will only pour into this, and you can look at historic data in this one. Okay. Now you might say, well, what happens if I want to look at long-term trends? What happens if I want to look at, next December, what's happened for the last 4 years on my website? That's a little bit more complicated because what you then need to do is migrate the data from here into here, okay? And that is possible, but it's not simple. Google haven't just got a button where you go, bang, there you go. So that's quite a complicated process. So if you're thinking about that, my question for you is, how useful is that to you? Because if it is useful to you, it's possible and it can be done, but it's not simple. So it's got to be valuable to you to make it worth getting the data out of the old version, getting it into the new version. The key is for most users, for most of us, is that we need to make sure our website is delivering data here and it's delivering it now, so that we've got dual systems running. So when this one turns off, we've got plenty of data on here, we're used to here, and it's running. What you don't want is only be collecting here and wait until July before you think about turning this one on. You will miss data and it won't be great. You want to think about it now, plan ahead, make sure you've got this system running, GA4, because you want this collecting your data so that you're future-proof, so that from July the 1st, which isn't that far away, let's be honest, data will be has been pouring into here for a while and will continue pouring into here, and you will be able to see the stats about your website. Now I'm going to do some other videos explaining the detail of how to connect these to your sites and stuff, with something maybe more complex than a coffee and teapot, but that will hopefully give you an overview. So the key is Universal Analytics, working great for now, data is going in the top, you can pour data out, but don't forget July the 1st they will stop data going in, it will store it for another year, and then it will go. Universal Analytics, the new one, can collect data now, you can look at the data now, and it will continue into the future. And at the moment, both can work together.